sparkly.
I'm bubbly.
And together, we're Mineragua.
The fresh, sparkling water for those who are bubbling over with life.
And crave new experiences.
Are you thirsty for adventure, more laughs, and more excitement?
With Mineragua in hand, it's easy to live life with sparkle.
Just look for the glass bottles with tiny bubbles wrapped in blue.
And you'll taste and feel the difference of Mineragua sparkling water.
Mineragua, get your fizz.
This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
You're listening to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Thanks for control. It's our standing by. We'll take caller 9-844-999-OLA, and you'll play Profile This in minutes. And we do have your headlines on the way 1 hour from now. First, quick check into Mike Hawk for some of the stories and headlines he is not working on.
All right, young people are more likely to feel lonely than older people, mainly because they haven't figured out how to cope with loneliness yet.
Or the fact that, everything's on the computer or your phone, etc.
Exactly.
Wait, so younger people are lonelier?
Are lonely.
Feel lonely.
More likely to feel lonely, it says.
Nah. Well, it makes sense. Like I said, when I'm growing up, man, your parents force you out of the house. They don't want, you just had to figure stuff out. And typically you interacted with other people. I don't know. It just seems kind of simple. Now,
yeah, I think what you said the first time, too, I kind of get, you get to a certain point, you kind of...
my grandmother is that last person standing.
Other ways to, interact. Well, kind of what you're both saying. You figure out ways to interact with people. They're probably just sitting at home going, God, I'm lonely.
No one over 50, though, is going to say, FOMO. It's just not going to happen. You don't care.
They actually go out and socialize. Boring people talk more than interesting people, according to a new study.
Yeah.
Is that the case, or is it just people get boring real quick?
Is that our show?
Oh, you know what? That's probably a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that boring people think that they're interesting?
Yeah,
Or is it interesting people are just really bad storytellers?
Here's how you know if you're boring. Nobody's ever said, man, you're funny, or that's a great story to you.
Or, hey, man, share that story with my buddy.
Please.
I think it's pretty basic.
Right? I don't, because you would never say, you'd be pretty tough.
That's a boring story. Yeah, that's a horrible story.
Right, dude, you suck at telling stories. That's a tough thing to say to somebody.
He talks a lot.
All right, I'm done. I'm falling asleep. A racehorse somehow got loose in a bar in France.
Have you seen this?
No. Of course not. I'm not working on it, Ted.
It's disturbing.
It is frightening.
Frightening?
It's not a very big place, first of all.
Right. Imagine a bar, just a bar, and then there's space in between for humans to walk, and then a row of tables. And a horse charging through there while he's bucking.
Maybe 6 feet just down on it,
And yes, Mike, I am a little scared of horses.
Well, there you go.
Well, yeah, if I'm at a bar, me and that horse probably have a problem.
You're probably not scared of horses, are you, Mike?
Not terribly, no.
Yeah.
I would wonder what the hell I was drinking if I turned around in a bar and saw a horse.
Like the beginning of the joke that we never get the answer to.
A horse walks into
a bar, right? Why the long face?
Did anybody ask you why the long face?
Somebody had to. Somebody had to do it. It's almost like a law. You're in a bar with a horse, you must say this.
And then, his saddle's to the side. I can't explain this enough. And he's also bucking.
Yeah, that's How did it get there? Where was it from?
It actually came from the I'm not working on it racetrack.
You're such a...
A restaurant in England tried to charge a man for water after someone threw acid in his face.
Jesus Christ.
Who charges for water?
You ever buy bottled water?
Yeah.
There
it's
you
a
go.
restaurant. They have restaurants all over the place have free water. What's up, England?
Are people just throwing acid in other people's faces over there?
Yeah, dude, it's England.
Well, we shoot people. They do the acid thing. Honestly, look, people are going to find a weapon, whatever weapon's most effective, and acid works. If you gave them guns, they would do what we do.
It's a new TV show. Right? You got acid.
They have acid. That's what you're going to use.
They're trying to take away their acid. Hey,
my cold dead fingers.
I'm going to have all the acid I want when you come taking away my acid.
Here's a new term.
They're going to take your acid.
Winter vagina.
This is a term.
This is a new term.
Winter.
Let me guess.
Go ahead.
Let's see.
I'm assuming that just means zero grooming.
Shall we hear from the lady?
I'm going to assume the same tip.
Yeah, that was my thought.
What is zero grooming?
I'm going to say it goes into hibernation.
Right.
And
You'll see it in the spring.
And you can't use it as much.
It's when things get dry down there because of the cold weather.
Oh.
Right.
Frostbite.
Well, what about winter penis then?
Robin, is this
Where is this person living?
Obviously in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask, man. You got the Me Too movement going on and all these things. So we're being alerted to a lot of things about women. And I just feel like winter vagina somehow would have come up before now.
Not the typical place to get chapped? I've not heard of this.
Robin, you need to do that. Hey, can I borrow your chapstick?
It's news
Then
to
turn
me.
around, open your pants, and hand it back.
It's news to me, and I have one. That's all I'm saying.
Do you have winter vagina? Has this ever happened to you?
Dunkin' Donuts suspended two of its
That's
workers.
not how you use Burt's Bees.
Oh, man. Oh, no. Dunkin' Donuts.
Susie Chapstick. I ski a lot. I have winter vagina.
Dunkin' Donuts suspended two of its workers in New York.
Duncan.
After they were caught on video dumping water on a homeless man.
It was awful.
He was just trying to charge his phone, right?
Yeah. And he's also he's got some issues besides being homeless, which is a big problem, obviously. But he's also got some mental issues as well. That he's he's schizophrenic.
It's super warm outside. So
that wasn't acid, at least.
2 Americans became the first people ever to successfully ski down the world's 4th tallest mountain. And
Where is the 4th tallest mountain? So let's see here. Everest is
Asia,
number one.
About to say, nobody knows what mountain that is because it's the 4th tallest, so nobody cares.
What is it? It's probably...
Come on, Miles. You know this stuff.
Is it Annapurna?
It says here that I'm not working on it.
Oh, that would be impossible.
Because it's the 4th tallest, so I don't care.
4th tallest in the world.
Tallest doesn't mean necessarily difficult. Like, K2 is difficult.
Yeah, what Miles said. If we always had 3-day weekends, we'd all be happier and more productive at our jobs, according to an economist in England. And he
All
said,
right, I'm not down with that.
And he said that we'd be so much more productive that we'd more than make up for one less day at work.
Of course.
I don't think they're ever going to make the effort for people to be more productive. Like it's daylight savings time every year, twice a year. They're going, and the headline's coming. We lose $2 billion worth of production, right? Because of daylight savings time. You know this going, so $4 billion a year in lost productivity, but everyone acknowledges that daylight savings time serves no purpose. But for whatever reason, we will continue to do this thing, lose productivity, and then complain about it. Mm-hmm. Like, pennies cost more to produce than they're worth. Like, look, we're not working with a freaking brain trust here. So you're not going to get a 4-day work week.
On that same token, wouldn't we be happier and more productive if we only had a 2-day work week, too?
Well, you wouldn't be more productive, but you'd be happy.
I think part of this is just kind of,
you have to live.
I mean, not that there's any research on this, but when you look down in San Francisco, in certain areas, in newer companies, like the idea that you have to work 5 days a week from 9 to 5, and show, like people could show up in the afternoon, do a lot of hard work.
Get
Some
your
people
work
could work
done.
from right. Like,
I'll say this too. I've never known anybody who had the option of taking 410s who, if they could, didn't.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, 100%, man. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. According to an online poll on common crimes, screw it. We just did this one. See, that's again. It's not Jeff. I forget who the other guy is, but he keeps doubling up on these stories.
Once I knew you weren't working on it, I just went ahead and went with it.
How'd you know until now?
Because I heard that you weren't working on it.
The website delish.com put together a list of the most popular candy for the year you were born.
Ooh. It only went back to 1980.
oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, right?
Yeah, me too. So it means nothing.
But it started in 1980.
Right,
it even had a side comment like, we assume you were born after 1980. I'm like, okay, I'm old.
That's because candy wasn't invented when you guys were born.
No, we had candy corns, Mike.
And those Necco wafers.
They were all the rage.
In the 70s, we had Smarties.
Like, what was it for 1980?
It says
Big
here,
League Chew.
Hershey's, I'm not working on it. Trix just announced that they're bringing back fruit-shaped cereal pieces like they had in the 90s.
Why does it matter?
Because it's whimsical, Thrill. Let them have the fruit-shaped pieces.
All right, fine.
Yeah, man. If you're going to have grape flavor, it has to look like little grapes.
That's
Make it
right.
have magic.
It's about the texture.
It does, and
That's Lucky Charms.
I mean, there's a
I can't remember
reason.
what Twix
There's a
is.
reason Runts taste like the fruit they're supposed to look like.
Did you say runs? Runs.
Because they're shaped the same exact way.
All right. I thought this was back to the dry factory.
A woman in Florida was taken to jail for a text that she sent.
What was that?
I'll tell you all about it 1 hour from now.
Thank you, Mike Hawk. Headlines are on the way 1 hour from now. First, the game is...
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
And Stephen Throwhill, can you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, Tim. Welcome to the Men's Room.
What up?
Hola! All right, Tim, you understand how this here game is played? Good. Tim, you understand how this here game is played?
Oh, yeah.
All right, fantastic.
He's on it.
He's on. We have a 29-year-old man. He was wanted by the Odessa Police Department, that would be in Texas, and the U.S. Marshal-led Lone Star Fugitive Task Force. This in connection with a charge of injury to a child causing serious bodily injury. On September 16th, he glued his 14-month-old child's mouth and eyes shut during a, quote, domestic incident before fleeing the scene. His wife called 911 and told officers that he'd also choked the girl and punched her in the head and ribs in addition to the gluing. Upon arrivals, officers discovered a crazy glue stick and a second child under a pile of pillows and blankets. Keep in mind, that kid was hiding. Now, his wife said that he'd stuffed the baby under the bedding before assaulting the other toddler because the infant had been crying. Anyway, he was arrested at a motel. He'd made it as far as East El Paso. He was booked into the El Paso County Jail with no bond in connection with the warrant. My question is, do you believe that this man who literally glued the mouth shut of his own child is black, white, Mexican, or Asian?
Sounds like a cartel member to me, man. I mean, those guys go hard.
But you think even with their own kids?
Well, I mean,
I don't know. I try not to hang out with too many,
Yeah,
I don't hang out with any of the Serranos or whatever they're called, but...
Yeah, but that is, I'm with Thrill.
Black, white,
no matter what the gang
like,
affiliation.
I feel like in a cartel... I mean, look, man, these people that are loaded with cash, I think we all understand this. They can get away with anything as long as mom and dad take care of them, right? Whether it's affluence, all this crap going on now. Like, there's no punishment for that.
And generally, when you look at historically gangsters, like, there's nothing more precious to them than their family.
But that said,
that's true.
Babies really are irritating when they won't shut up.
Tim, my guess is white.
I'm just saying white because of Odessa, Texas.
I think if it was white, it would have glued his ears shut.
All right.
I gotta go Mexican. I don't know why. I'm just going Mexican.
Final answer.
Final answer, Mexi.
All right, we're going to find out if he was black, white, Mexican, or Asian next.
That was a tease.
You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
All right, Profile This takes us to Texas, and we have a Dad of the Year. He is wanted for injury to a child, that child being his own child. He glued the mouth of the child shut and eyes. He was eventually apprehended a few miles down the road and busted.
That is correct. And we asked you, did you believe that this guy was black, white, Mexi, or Asian? In the end, you went Mexi, which again, El Paso / Odessa, Texas. Kind of go with the numbers there. However, and everybody said, man, it sounds like a white guy. That is incorrect as well. He's black.
Oh, man.
Yes, indeed.
Crazy glue.
Yeah, I'm like, no one's going to hear this.
Oh, damn.
Now for all TV
Sneaky
news,
brother.
all the time, it is time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
Now, obviously, I live in Seattle. If you've never been to the Seattle area, the whole Sonics leaving Seattle is kind of a strange thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, at first, honestly, like, look, when I lived on the East Coast and I heard about this, I was like, I just assumed the Seattle Supersonics were not well supported, this and that.
Of course.
Right. But I was wrong. There was always a great love for the team. People showed up, this and that. If you ever get a chance to see the documentary Sonicsgate, they do a very good job of explaining basically what happened.
Uh-huh.
So the city of Seattle is still pretty pissed and really very much for like an NBA team. Obviously, they haven't gotten one since the Sonics left, and, they also had Kevin Durant for his rookie season. He was Rookie of the Year. Like, you'd like to keep that stuff.
Right.
So WWE is in town. One of the oldest tricks in kind of wrestling, period, is that you go out in the town you're in, you insult their sports teams, blah, blah, blah. So that's not that crazy. What's impressive here is that it's Elias and Kevin Owens, is that when they start insulting the Seattle fans, it's just how loud and how long these boos go.
But you know what doesn't make sense? John Cena teaming with Bobby Lashley.
Kev, it doesn't make sense, It's like having a basketball team in Seattle.
Listen to the roar of this crowd.
No respect for Detlef Shrimp.
Good shout, good shout. That ringing you hear is they're turning up the wrestler's mic.
Right. Sensitive button. Got Seattle right in the feelings.
That's what poets do.
Look.
Oklahoma City. Now I get that. The team here just doesn't make sense.
Well, clearly you've really upset them here, but sports aren't exactly my thing.
This ain't stopping, dude.
Oh, you know what else isn't my thing?
Kev, you're going to have to speak up. These people are being very disrespectful.
I said you know what else isn't my thing?
All right. I mean, they were not pleased, man.
No, go to the Mention Facebook page. It's up there. I mean, it goes on for minutes on end.
That's the definition of being a heel. They absolutely killed it.
Oh, yeah.
They couldn't have gotten a better response.
Right. I will say this, though. If you watch it, I don't think
they started getting uncomfortable.
I mean,
it's one thing to go to
Elias,
a heel.
like at first, it almost looks like he kind of looks down and giggles, like, "Oh man, like we really," because you know what I mean. Like this is going on.
They did. It obviously they had this joke ready. They did not expect this reaction, and it's like, hey man, you can see the two of them kind of like, hey man, we got to get to the next.
They are
part.
hyping a event basically that takes place in Australia.
Right, that's what their promo is supposed to be.
And by the time that you watch it, it's 4 a.m. anyway. You know what I mean? It's 4 a.m. So that's the match they're hyping, too. So that got more exposure than anything they could have done at 4 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty amazing. And good on the people there.
Sure.
Boom, hard. And Seattle has a good history with the WWE. Because Daniel Bryan, he was kind of ascending to the top. I want to say they had a Raw here where the people chanted for him, because he's from Washington State, were chanting for him so much they had to stop the show and bring him back out.
Yeah, and you have to remember, there's so many guys too from Canada that have formed that league, that have formed wrestling, and when you think of the Hart family and all the Calgary and Stampede wrestlers and all that, man, first stop in the Northwest was always Seattle.
Oh yeah.
So when those guys came through, Seattle was the big city, man. You know, it was from there to Portland, and you go down to California. But all those guys who wrestled up in Canada for years and years and years, Seattle was a major place.
It is. You know what? Sometimes I think we've talked about Mike with this, about going out for Italian. He always says he gets spaghetti, and I think we even said something to him like Mike, have you ever even been to the Olive Garden? Right? They have so many combinations.
And it's spaghetti anyway.
And it's still spaghetti and meatballs.
Right, it won't steer clear.
So obviously, a few of us like Olive Garden. Well, Jimmy Fallon had on rapper Post Malone, and he is a big fan of the Olive Garden.
I heard that you celebrate every milestone at the Olive Garden.
Oh, yeah. Every from, going platinum to going undefeated 20-0 in beer pong that night. We stay up till 1 p.m. and head to Olive Garden and, celebrate life.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Olive Garden, really? I've never been to the Olive Garden.
Man. We're going to go tonight. We're going to go tonight and we're going to get it on. We're going to get in trouble tonight.
You want to go to the Olive Garden?
Let's get it on.
After the show, you want to go to the Olive Garden?
Hell yeah.
I'll do that.
Let's get it on.
Let's do it. Let's get it on. I love it. Post Malone right there. I'll go. Olive Garden, man.
All right, so number one, it's crazy to me that Jimmy Fallon has never been to an Olive Garden.
I don't think that's that crazy.
Really?
Yeah. He lives in New York City.
Yeah, if you live in a city.
I mean, he's been there downtown for how many years? 20 years that we've known him?
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
I mean, honestly, if you live in a city, Olive Garden, Big Boy, all that stuff.
Outback Steakhouse.
Right, I mean, it's
I
like
would
a
go,
treat when you go. Like when you at a strip mall out in the county somewhere, you're like, holy crap, dude, we got to go to Olive Garden.
Times Square. Like, I remember getting...
Well, they have an Olive Garden in Times Square, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I ate it Fridays.
It's New York City, full of it. Like,
you ate it
if I
Fridays?
live in New York City, do you think my ass is going to Olive Garden or going to, like, Vito's down here?
You'd be surprised, though, when people come in from out of town someplace.
They'll go to Olive Garden.
They will go to, like, they see a Cheesecake Factory, right?
That's where they go.
They could be in Paris. Like, Cheesecake Factory.
People have to go where they're comfortable. Makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But that's why you see it in Times Square, but you don't really find, like, Olive Garden all over the place.
Look, if they had an Olive Garden in my neighborhood, I'd already been there.
Of course.
I could tell you everything on the menu.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. I don't know. It's just like Fallon. That seems crazy to me.
No, I can see that. I mean, again, and not just living in any city, but living in New York City, I can totally see him not going to Olive Garden. Although that said, everything about his personality says he'd be the perfect person for Olive Garden.
Sure. Hey,
my brother used to work at an Olive Garden.
There's a Bupo de Becco, whatever the hell they call it.
Bupo de Becca?
Club close to my place.
Is it Bupo de Becca or Beppe de Bupo?
All I can tell you is go.
Bupo de Becca.
If you haven't been, they just serve you a whole lot of food.
Crab out.
Just go. That place is great.
Yeah, my brother worked at an Olive Garden, man, and they had a little, like, you put the block of mozzarella in there, and then you just spun the wheel and it came out.
Yeah, man.
Tell me when to stop.
I got one of those at home. Hey, don't ever ask me that.
Tell me when to stop.
Because they'll say, hey, man, just tell me when to stop. And they realize, either they think I'm a mute or whatever, but it's like, I'm not going to tell you to stop.
I'm deaf.
Keep going. Keep going.
Let's see here. John Legend, he's going to put out a Christmas album. Do you know what it's going to be called?
Legendary Christmas.
Yes! It's exactly what it's called.
I did not know.
Is he doing legendary song? What other songs can you possibly do?
Somebody write new Christmas songs.
You can't originally.
Man.
Who?
Mariah Carey did it. 98 Degrees did it.
That's 25 years ago.
Wait, they wrote new songs?
Yeah, there's still
25
people that put out newer ones.
Okay, look.
It's just you mainly only hear the classics.
And that's my effing issue.
What about Bublé?
Does he do new stuff?
No.
I don't know.
But he's the kind of guy that shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like Michael Bublé is a guy, he sounds like he should only ever do covers.
He should only ever just pop up at Christmas every once in a while. Like, it's Michael Bublé doing that thing again.
Do you think it's possible for him to sing without smiling?
Yeah. He's like with Lee Greenwood. Like, somebody dies, terrible tragedy.
Lee Greenwood's a hack. I mean, at least Bublé tries to do something.
Like Bublé and Harry Connick Jr. and just that style of music, like... Like, it does kind of remind me of the holidays because they're always there.
Right,
but also,
they sound like crooners.
It reminds me of something fancy. Like, we're in a nice Italian joint or like a nice steakhouse. You know what I mean? Right. Get the horns going.
Yeah, it sounds classy.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, we're going dinner and dance.
Johnny's daughter is the hostess.
Right? She'll let us
Don't hit on her. She's 16, okay? 16.
She'll let us bring in our own wine, though. Anyhow, John Legend, a big thing about him is he's an EGOT winner. Which means you've won an Emmy,
Grammy,
that is a big deal.
Oscar, Tony.
And a Tony, right?
They need to get Golden Globe in there. Then you'd be an EGOT. Right? Because to me, like,
took me a second.
Honest to God, when I watch the Golden Globes, I don't know, man. It just seems like even the people that are there, and the Golden Globes, more than movies, it's all the stuff, they almost seem happier to have won that, maybe, than the Oscar. Or maybe it's just because you can drink and they're getting hammered. I don't know.
They do have a good time. But there's a lot of people on the list who are, like, close, right? Cher. She just needs a Tony.
So she has an ego. Just saying.
Shocking.
Are there any, you got egos, gets?
A lot of people need the Tony Award.
That's got to be the hardest one, right?
Yeah, Ron Howard needs a Tony. Jeremy Irons, he needs a Grammy. He doesn't really.
So I can see him having a Tony.
But you can do that with spoken word sometimes.
You can
do it in different ways.
James Earl Jones. He's got 2 Emmys. He's got a Grammy. He's got 3 Tonys, but he needs that Oscar.
Huh.
You'd be surprised.
You were great as Simba's dad.
Yeah,
and Luke Skywalker's dad.
He plays dads.
And Conan the Barbarian's dad. All you need to know is James Earl Jones is your father.
He's like John Amos.
You can be white, you can be black, you can be a lion. James Earl Jones is your dad. He will say F anything.
In Field of Dreams, though, he only played a father-like figure.
Yeah.
Anyhow, John Legend was on this list for years, but obviously he got one. There's a lot of people on here. This is the one I wanted to get to. This guy has an Oscar, 2 Tonys, and 2 Emmys, but he's missing a Grammy.
It's Al Pacino.
Yes!
I gotta get a Grammy. I tried to do a spoken word. People said they couldn't listen to it for more than 30 seconds.
I'll put your kids to sleep with some poems.
Hoo-ah, hoo-ah. 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. And let me tell you something about that blue fish. It had a great ass.
It needed the money.
We talked about her earlier, Barbara Streisand.
Goddamn Al Pacino.
She still needs a Tony as well.
She doesn't have a Tony?
No.
But
She seems like
she's had a couple Tonys.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I think I've had a couple Tonys. I'm from New York, you know.
She had a couple Oscars, too.
You get a Ted, you get a Tony, too.
That is affirmative. I'm trying to imagine what Al Pacino is going to win that for.
Your middle name's Tony. You should give people Tonys when you sleep with them.
You just won a Tony
You got
Award.
a Tony Award. You slept with a Tony. Here you go. You didn't even know that. You just thought I was a Ted.
All right. Let's see. One of the most famous actors from The Office, John Krasinski.
Krasinski, yeah.
Oh,
you were working on that all day, weren't you?
I've been working on that for, Rob, what's it been, 2.5 weeks? I've been asking you. Finally going to play this. So he has some very...
So we had to wait for you to figure out how to say his goddamn last name before we do this clip.
What if it was...
I'm not doing it until I can say Krasinski.
What if it was Sacha Baron Cohen again?
We wouldn't hear anything.
I don't know. I'm not even going to try because I'm going to screw it up. You understand why I was struggling today earlier with a lot of letters and stuff. Anyhow... John Krasinski, you know what? The dude from The Office and The Quiet Movie, all right?
The Quiet Movie.
He's got some great advice
Not
here.
a silent film, just,
He's got some great advice here from his mother.
Truly, my mom came to pick me up from that theater school after 16 weeks or something. And as soon as the car left the driveway of the school, I said, I'm moving to New York and I'm going to be an actor. And my mom paused for probably a half a second and she said, great, go do it. The only thing I ask you is in 2.5 or 3 years, if you don't have any sense that this is going to happen, we used to fish as kids. So she was like, if you don't get a nibble or a bite in 2.5 or 3 years, you have to make me one promise. And I said, what? And she said, you got to pull yourself out because as your mother, you can't ask me to tell you to give up on your dreams. And I said, that's so profound and yes, fair. Cut to 2.5 years later, I was like, so I'm out. This is terrible. It's so scary. This is the worst. And she said, it's September. Just wait it out. Just wait till the end of the year. Don't give up just yet. I was telling her to come get me. And
in New York?
Yeah. And 3 weeks later, I got the office.
Wow. Yep. And that worked out.
I give her a lot of love and 10%. So, she deserves it.
So that's something that all parents should know is that success is only 3 weeks away.
So, right, I just think that's an awesome story.
Yeah, it's great.
Right, I always tell a story about my mom driving me back to practice. Like, you want more playing time? Talk to the coach. Right?
Go handle
it. So anyhow, that story ends with him getting the office. We've seen his career take off from there. I mean, the office has done a lot of things for a lot of people. So this is kind of interesting. This is 1 second from every show of The Office.
Put my stuff in Jell-O again.
Oh, man, am I a woman? I still have a vagina.
He's in a box. What?
Blue Blast. Oh, Blue Blast.
Michelle Hoarding. That's what she said.
I killed myself. This is Mike Tyson.
Michael? Detective Michael Scott.
15 bottles of vodka.
Be the boss of dancing.
It takes an advanced sense of humor.
Oh.
African, American.
Boy, have you lost your mind?
Miracle Whip.
The day begins.
My cousin-in-law.
You.
Muppet Babies tattoo.
SpongeBob SquarePants. We need a new plague. Using magic.
Dwight, you ignorant slut.
Battlestar Galactica.
I love fake boobs.
You and I are done.
You've just seen my penis. I'm not really sure what's wrong with it.
Turtles!
Zippity-doo-dah.
Brian used me as an object.
Cut my penis on the lid. Plastic boobs.
It's a very important client.
Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap.
Super old.
Did I stutter? That was such a great show, man.
Right, I mean, it makes no sense, all that stuff together, but if you watch the show at all... Miles, did you ever watch The Office?
No, never.
You didn't. You
Really?
love it,
No.
man.
Dude, I'm pretty sure Mike just watched it all, like, recently. Like, if you have Netflix or whatever, like... Or,
Yep, I can do it.
Yeah, I would go back and... Yeah, Mike's giving you the okay sign.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's a great show. And it's one of those ones, too, that, like... I watched a couple seasons and then stopped watching.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then went back.
You'll laugh your ass off when you come back, sure.
And hell, I think the last two seasons, Steve Carell wasn't even there anymore.
No, James Spader came in. Acting very James Spader.
Oh, was he creepy as hell, James Spader?
But it was the perfect role for him because the character wasn't serious, but it's kind of like, hey, James Spader, you're James Spader, so just be your regular creepy, weird-ass self, but in a comedy.
Yeah. Hey, what's that meme, like that's the guy they warned you about? Like, Spader's that guy. Right?
He is.
Like, he's always been kind of like...
He went to the prep school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess he's cool, but also, like, he's slimy. I don't really know the guy. I'm just saying his character.
I know the role for him to play.
Yeah, exactly. You know how he's been taken.
I know the exact role for him to play.
All right. We haven't had one from Seth in a while. A lot of different states are legalizing marijuana. And in California, they're talking about maybe even letting...
Los Angeles International Airport has updated its policy to allow travelers to pack marijuana when flying. And every person who is happy to hear that missed their flight.
I mean, look, it's cheap, but he's not wrong.
Well, California tourism just went through the roof.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. Mike's got your headlines coming up here in just a few minutes. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. Ohio Mom of the Year allows 10-year-old to get an unlicensed tattoo. Meanwhile, bowling alley owner performs the Greek cathedral split by hitting the 10, 8, 7, 6, 4, and 2. 16-year-old girl going to jail for 4 years for kissing a 13-year-old boy. What Dunkin' Donuts employee did to a homeless man will not bring you any joy. And a military school fires their dean for vaping CBD oil to fight cancer. It is time for your headlines.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my car.
Our top story, we go to Florida, where a woman dining at a restaurant thought she would have some fun with her boyfriend. The woman texted him that people were robbing the restaurant. I don't know why it's funny, but I guess it is. Being the hero, the man immediately called 911 like really anybody would, and officers came storming into the restaurant with guns drawn within minutes. After explaining herself, the woman was arrested for misuse of the 911 system because the call had caused a dangerous environment that could have gotten people hurt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. He was just doing what he thought was the right thing to do based on the fact that his girlfriend was in there and he was not there.
Exactly.
Now you're wasting officer time because it's not funny.
Right.
That's not how you joke.
I wonder if they're still together. I don't know if I'd want to be with somebody that pulls that joke.
Yeah, it's not well thought out. You're not dealing with someone who's very smart.
No. In other news, it happened again, gentlemen. It is another case of bad parenting.
Uh-oh.
This particular case takes us to Ohio, where a woman was charged with child endangerment after she allowed her 10-year-old son to be tattooed by a 16-year-old in his home in an unsanitary condition.
Well,
basically,
the tattoo that this teen gave before that gave somebody MRSA.
Oh, did it?
Oh, yeah. Really?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
I mean... So even if it didn't, I would not have my kid go to the 16-year-old.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's so many levels to the story that is stupid.
The mother said that she got tired of her son asking, so she let him get one shortly after he turned 10.
If you're going to be a parent, you have to deal with getting tired of your kids asking the same crap over and over.
Exactly what I thought.
Fine.
Let's go with
a pet horse.
Let's go with the age-old argument. If he asked you over and over again if he wanted to jump off of a bridge, would you eventually let him do it?
Some days like, yeah, man, go do that.
There's going to get to a point where he doesn't need to ask anymore, and he'll find out for himself.
Before you ask, said no, it does not say what he got the tattoo of.
I assume it's a cartoon character.
Gotta be, right? Rick or Morty. We go to Turkey, where a teenager has been punished for passion. The 16-year-old was filmed hugging and kissing his 13-year-old girlfriend on school grounds. 16 and 13, 3 years difference.
No, the girl was 16.
Negative.
The boy was 13. No,
the other way.
Oh, the other way?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That kind of incriminating evidence landed the young man 4.5 years in jail.
Damn. For being 16 and kissing his girlfriend.
The law of the land in Turkey, Ted, is no sexual contact with children under the age of 15. Period.
I guess I'm just used to American high schools. Like, that doesn't seem that crazy to me, right? Like a junior going out with a freshman.
You can do a lot more than that in American high schools, apparently, Ted.
Yeah.
That won't stop you from doing anything, yeah.
Not in Turkey. Damn. A 90-year-old man in San Jose has been accused of murder, and the evidence against him is the attire of the victim. The man's stepdaughter was believed to have committed suicide, but due to information gathered by the Fitbit that she was wearing, it shows that she was killed while the man was in her house. So here's the thing. The police arrived on the scene, found her dead with a kitchen knife in her hand and slashes to her head and neck, it says. So it looked like it was a suicide, but it also looked like somebody kind of set it up for a suicide. They checked her home security. Her stepfather comes to the house, and they just so happen to find the Fitbit that's on her wrist. They check the data from the Fitbit, and while he was in the house, based on the hours with the Fitbit and the security cameras, while he was there, her heart rate spiked and then eventually died off.
Oh.
Wow.
Yep. That's how they pinned it.
Right.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
And that's when he was there.
You think they'll use that in their ads?
Fitbit won't keep you alive, but
we can tell who killed
him. They can point to the murderer.
We're pretty sure when you're getting ready to.
The dean of a military school was forced out of his job because of his medication. The Vietnam vet was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and one of the medications that he takes is a vape of CBD oil. Not unheard of. Unfortunately, marijuana of any kind is a Schedule I controlled substance in the military, and he received a notice of removal. He did make an appeal, but it was rejected.
That's okay. You don't have your job, that still will help save your life. So if he's going to, I'd rather have...
Save your life. Don't worry about that. The only thing I would say to the military, and look, this isn't going to change their opinion, but as a fact, you can't really worry about what the United States government says about weed because by their own admission, they don't take time to study it. So if you're hanging your hat on a group of people that openly admit to ignorance about a certain thing, I would just say you're making a bad judgment call and you have the lives of young men and women in your hands. So this is not being pro-weed. This is just the United States government has made it, they will not spend a dime to study the effects of weed, then you cannot propose to know anything about it. So I'm just saying, for me personally, I would not take my advice from them. But you got, you do you. You do you.
It also sucks because there's a lot of veterans that deal with PTSD and things.
Doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter. They don't care.
There's a ton of people that this would do a lot of good for, and they just turn their head and do the thing.
Yep. The airlines are in the news once again, and they never disappoint. Due to a change of aircraft, a woman in New Zealand ended up with a pretty crappy seat. She was assigned a seat in the 35th row of a plane that only had 34 rows, putting her seated in the plane's lavatory.
You know what? You know how much money you can make on that? I really have to go. It's my seat, bitch. You got $5. You got a
That's
toilet.
exactly right.
I mean,
I'll tell you what you do. You buy me a sandwich and a Coke and a Jack and Coke. And maybe
is that the drink card going by?
That's right. Why don't you hook a brother up?
The woman says the airline crew were rude and lacked manners, as she was outraged by her seating arrangement, which anybody would. You go back to your seat and here's the door, ma'am.
Good news is you still got on the flight. Right. It's a full flight, so they'll put you in a jump seat or whatever.
Yeah, she was given a seat further up and the plane didn't need to catch a different flight. So that's really the silver lining to all this, but still, she shouldn't have needed a different seat anyway.
You know what? Hell with it. Let's sell the bathroom.
I mean, at some point,
you almost have more room in there.
I'm about to say it's probably going to be the most comfortable seat there.
Water, yeah.
That's it for headlines with that. Mike Hawk is out.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time for Who Sucks Last. For Return to the Word, profile this, and we'll drink and toast with a shot of the day, just like yesterday.
Yes, indeed. It is all true. But in the meantime, we be all about this badge. So until next time, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network.
Oh, man.
A Double Flush production.
To show you how easy it is to file a claim with Geico, we hired a Shakespearean actor.
Oh, woe is me. Wherefore are thy claims help when I hadst a fender bender?
Pardon the interruption, but when you file a claim with Geico, your claims team will be in touch right away.
But willest they forget about me later when thou needest updates?
No. They'll always be there to, helpeth you out.
Well, I suppose that I should bemoan something else, like my lactose intolerance. Oh, whyest must dairy disagree with me so savagely?
Geico. Great service without all the drama.